Virtual meetings can be more tiring than face-to-face ones. People feel that they have to make more of an emotional effort to appear interested, and in the absence of many non-verbal cues, the intense focus on words and sustained eye contact is quite exhausting. Meetings in person are not only about the exchange of knowledge, they're also important rituals. Rituals that provide comfort, put people at ease, and are essential in building and maintaining rapport. Face-to-face meetings are also important mechanisms for the communication of attitudes and feelings amongst business partners and colleagues. Emotions precede and follow all of our behaviours and influence management decision-making. Sensitive topics are often canvassed and required to notice subtleties in changes around emotion and displays of empathy. Virtual meetings are different from in-person meetings because they increase our cognitive load and take up a lot more conscious capacity. Our brains can only do so many things consciously at once because we have limited working memory. In contrast, we can process more information unconsciously as we do with body language, so we miss out a lot on non-verbal communication. Feelings and attitudes are largely conveyed by non-verbal signals such as facial expressions, the tone and pitch of the voice, gestures, posture, and the distance between people when they communicate. In face-to-face meetings, these cues are processed largely automatically, while still listening to the speaker at the same time. Non-verbal cues are relied on heavily to make emotional judgments, such as assessing whether a statement is credible or not. Information is automatically taken in around, is the person fidgeting? Does the person feel comfortable with what they're saying? But in a virtual meeting, paying more attention and predominantly relying on and processing only verbal information to infer emotions rather than non-verbal cues consumes a lot of energy and requires harder work and is very tiring. So the mind is focused when the body feels that it's not, and this dissonance causes people to have conflicting feelings and is exhausting. There's also anxiety about the remote workspace and events that might make people look bad to colleagues. Am I competent in using the technology? Will my background suddenly let me down? What judgments will people make on what's behind me? Is my partner going to walk into the room not wearing much at all? In person, people often meet on the way to meetings to catch up on issues or discuss views before they go in. They grab a coffee together, and the simple act of relocating to a different room is energizing. But staying in one place means that people move from a task and then go on to a virtual meeting, often without taking breaks. Also, walking is known to improve creativity, highlighting the importance of discussions whilst walking to meetings, moving around during the meeting, or even holding stand-up meetings. It's much more difficult to walk around during a virtual meeting. And where the meeting's held matters, the physical environment acts as a cognitive scaffold, so certain meanings can be attributed to meeting rooms, and this subtly changes behaviour. This could include anchors to important topics such as creativity and problem solving. The heightened emphasis on facial cues and the ability to see yourself can also be stressful. Viewing your own negative facial expressions like anger and disgust can lead to more intense emotions than when viewing similar facial expressions in others. Are you listening, or are you just frozen? Silence in real-life conversation is important and creates a natural rhythm. But in a virtual meeting, silence can make you look anxious about the technology. Even a short delay of over a second in responding online makes people perceive that the person talking is less friendly or focused. In addition, frustration with people turning their microphones on or off, lagging connections, and background noise mean that the meeting itself rarely flows as smoothly. On the upside, social anxiety is positively correlated with feelings of comfort online. So for people who dread physical meetings, meeting online might be a welcome respite. Even though the intense focus on verbal information in video meetings can be mentally more draining, it might also have some potential positive side effects by reducing biases due to social and emotional signals. For instance, certain physical factors such as height are linked to social dominance. But these factors are less apparent in virtual meetings, which could lead to increased emphasis on the merits of arguments. Fatigue can be reduced by considering whether the meeting itself needs to happen. In some cases, shared document platforms with detailed comments can reduce the need to meet. Fatigue can be reduced also by limiting the number of virtual meetings in a day, as well as using other messaging systems and email. Sometimes the phone is better. On the phone, the only communication channel to concentrate on is the voice, and people can walk around, which can help with thinking. So these are some of the considerations that you need to think about as a leader when you're planning virtual meetings, for your own health and sanity, and the health and sanity of other people.